Welcome back to r/LegalAdvice, where people ask questions, get advice, and we get satisfaction. If you are new around here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join our awesome community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, "Someone filed a theft report saying I stole something that is rightfully mine. Police station not helpful so far." A woman in my neighborhood came over to my house to find out if her son was over playing with mine. He wasn't. She saw my iPad on the coffee table and picked it up and started looking at it. Then she asked if it was hers, saying hers was stolen and it looked exactly like it. I said no, it is my own. She told me she did not believe me and accused me/my son of stealing it, etc. Then she said that even if that exact iPad was not hers, she knows hers is somewhere and she believes my son stole it. I know that is not possible because the day she claimed it was stolen, my son was out of state with his grandparents. She tried to leave with it, but I took it back from her and told her to leave repeatedly. After I threatened to call the police, she left. About an hour later, she showed up with police herself. The police officer did all the talking and said that while in my home she saw stolen property that belongs to her. It was still sitting on my coffee table and she came in and picked it up. I told her that it is not her property and that she is not welcome in my house. She ignored me. The police officer took it from her and asked her what the background was when she lost it. She lied and said that it had a red background, which is the background I had on it myself. She must have seen it when she picked it up previously. The police officer told me that she agreed not to press charges for theft if we got it back and to have a nice day. They walked away. I begged the police officer to stay while I got proof it was mine. I have the box, receipt, warranty, etc. in my home office. He said she has already proven it was hers and repeated, "Have a nice day." They left. I immediately drove to the police station with all my documentation. Someone there seemed sympathetic and made copies of everything. I asked to fill out a theft report and they let me. They said they would look into it. It has been 3 days and I have not heard back. I understand that this is a low priority for them, but she got a police officer to come to my house in under an hour for something I allegedly stole. Now when a cop helped her steal something from me, they don't care. I am wondering if anyone has any recommendations. I have remotely wiped everything from it, but of course I want my actual device back. I have gone to her house several times, but she ignores me. If she is outside and sees me coming, she goes inside and does not answer the door. And a user in the comments said, "File a complaint with the officer's supervisor," and another person agreed, it does not sound like he did his due diligence. And guys, I gotta say, this is just a super weird situation. What would you do if you were OP? I mean, essentially, this police officer assisted the woman in stealing OP's property, if I did not got that completely wrong. And the next one is an update to the iPad story. I posted here about a crazy in the neighborhood who claimed I stole her iPad. She brought a cop to pick it up and the cop refused to hear my side and she got to leave with it. I went down to the police station a couple of times with no luck. I asked to talk to one of the detectives who deal with stolen property and one actually came out to talk to me, and then another cop came over and said they know about the situation and it is already being handled. Then they pretty much brushed me off. The officer's supervisor was not helpful. He basically said, "She filed a theft report and gave identifying information." I pushed and he said he would look into it. I gave him the serial number of the iPad that I owned, which he asked for. He called the next day and said she was able to identify the serial number of her own iPad. That is about the stupidest thing in the world because she physically had the iPad, so of course she can find the serial number. I was going to file in small claims court. In the meantime, I had posted an angry Facebook rant and a family friend said to come visit him at work. He is a cop in a nearby town and told someone higher up there about the situation. That person went to the local PD and I don't know what he said, but it worked. They recovered it for me and I got to pick it up yesterday. Fortunately, there were no accounts logged in or important data saved. I have also given copies of both police reports to the homeowners association here. They said that she can be penalized for harassing actions against neighbors. Thanks for everyone's advice on it. And by the way, Ripe Stars, I'm curious, how many of you watch my videos on tablets? You know, YouTube actually tells us YouTubers how many people watch on mobile devices, which also includes tablets, and how many people watch on PCs. Interestingly enough, the ratio between PC and so-called mobile users in recent years has changed dramatically to the phone side. So yeah, let me know in the comments what sort of device you are watching on. And the next one is titled, "My landlord had my service dog taken away and probably euthanized while I was at work, Alabama." I moved to rural Alabama a few months ago and signed a 1-year lease on a rental property. The lease explicitly states that dogs are allowed with a $300 per deposit. I paid the pet deposit and paid an extra $50 a month to have my dog. The dog is a professionally trained service dog that I require due to my disability. I have all of its papers and the documentation proving it is a service dog. The landlord also has a copy of the registration papers. Like I said, it is a rural area, so I have a large fenced-in yard. The fence is 6 feet tall and it locks in front of the house. I let the dog out when I get home from work and the neighbors are over half a mile away. When I came home from work today, my dog was missing. She should have been inside like she always is. I asked my neighbor, we have the same landlord, if he had seen anything, and he told me he saw the landlord go into my house and remove the dog. He says he saw the dog in the back of her truck as she drove past his house. I called my landlord and asked if she had been in my house. She said she had been over to check on the electricity meter and the appliances. I told her that my dog was missing and that she was not allowed to enter my home without notice, but she then denied that she had been over to my house. I demanded that she returns my dog and she claimed that I had never had a dog, that dogs were not allowed on the property and that I had violated my lease. We ended up in a screaming match before I hung up. I am on the verge of calling the police, but I have no proof that anything happened. The only thing I know is that my dog is gone. I've only been home for 2 hours. Edit/update. After I posted this, I called my mom and had her drive over. After she arrived, we called the police and filed a report. A lot of you asked why I hesitated, and it is because I've had police hassle me in the past and I was not going to be alone with an officer without my dog or some sort of backup. I am wheelchair bound, so I cannot take any risks. After we filed the report, the police went to see the landlord who lives in the area. The landlord's husband surrendered my dog and the dog was returned to me. I chose to press charges for trespassing and theft, and now Sweet Pea, the dog, is gnawing on some treats. I plan to move out ASAP. And I gotta say guys, I would probably do the same if I had an absolutely crazy landlord like this. Did you ever have any issues with your landlord? Let us know in the comments, and while you're at it, please don't forget to post some star emojis in the comments and also like the video if you want to support me. This helps my channel out tremendously, thank you so much. And the next one is titled, "Was assaulted by a roommate's friend at my home and now I am left with the medical bill. Do I have a case?" A while back I was at my apartment. One of my roommate's friends had been staying at our apartment for about a month as he was in between places. This friend is known to be a hothead and has assaulted me before, although not as serious as the night I am asking about. Let's call him Bob for the story. On the night I am speaking of, my roommates are having a party and everyone is drinking. I was not drinking, but was playing beer pong on one of my roommates' team while he drank all the beer. We were playing against Bob's team. We were both talking crap back and forth as we always do. I did not think anything was out of sorts, and suddenly Bob charges towards me and tackles me into our pantry while hitting me multiple times in the head. I did not hit him back and covered up my head to protect myself from the blows. He is pulled off of me and I tell him he needs to leave. I am alright and shake it off. Shortly thereafter, I go outside to get some air as I am pretty pissed about the situation. Bob is outside and begins talking crap, calling me a PUSSY and telling me to fight him. I tell him I won't fight him, I am a bit of a pacifist, and tell him that I won't hit him back. He charges at me and begins hitting me again. I once again just try to protect myself from the blows and do not hit back. I also try to run away from him. Eventually he is pulled off of me. At this point I have a large laceration above my eye that will require stitches. I immediately go to my car and drive myself to the hospital, as I am the only one that is not under the influence. I was very torn about filing a police report. I was psychologically shaken from the situation. I was scared of retaliation. He is much larger than me, but after a couple days I filed a police report. One of the main reasons why I filed the report is because I was told that I could get my medical bills covered through victim services. The police said there was enough evidence to charge him with assault, and when they questioned him he admitted to everything. I filed my request for my medical bills through victim services. Fast forward to a couple weeks ago and I get a letter from victim services. They state that application was denied due to the reason that the applicant contributed to the injury through his or her actions. This is particularly devastating because I have over $3,000 in medical bills because of this incident. I would like to know if I have a good case to take Bob to small claims court. I have the police report, hospital records and bills, pictures and possibly witnesses to help. Just want to know what I am getting into before I start the process. Any help or advice would be appreciated. I've been very truthful with all the information I included, as I want to know honestly where I would stand in court. I look forward to your advice and thank you. I am located in Utah. And a person in the comments said, the victim services decision can be appealed. Did you submit everything, including eyewitness reports and the police report? And then a user asked, was Bob arrested and or charged with anything? If Bob is convicted or takes a plea deal, he may be ordered to pay restitution. You have to keep in mind that if the prosecution chooses to prosecute Bob, the prosecution and sentencing can take a while. During that time, your medical bills would go unpaid. Small claims court would be a good place for you to file. The small claims system is built so that people like you can seek damages easily and without the assistance of an attorney. In some places, attorneys are not even allowed to represent people in small claims cases. Just bring all of your evidence with you to the hearing and tell the magistrate/judge your side of the story. NOP answered, I'm pretty sure he was charged with assault. The last time I spoke with the officer, he said he was not able to get a hold of him to give him the citation. He told me he sent it to the prosecuting attorney, I believe. I will probably contact the officer soon to see what the full situation is at this point, since it has been a while since I've contacted him. Update to the roommate medical bills story. I just wanted to give you all an update. I'd been in touch with the city attorney in regards to the case ever since I filed charges, and they never seemed to be making any progress. I was worried about anything ever being resolved, so that is why I posted about asking about my possibilities in small claims court. A couple months ago I called the city attorney's office and was informed that the city attorney decided to pursue greater charges and had bumped the charges up to Class A misdemeanor assault and had been handed over to the county attorney's office. Things progressed quickly after this. I was contacted by the victim's advocate rep for the county attorney, and she advised me to submit all my medical bills from the assault with a statement, and that they would be able to get them paid for me in the form of restitution, and that the court date was set for October. Last week she contacted me again and told me that the defendant had gotten legal representation and that the matter may be resolved quicker than the original court date. Finally today I received word that the case had been settled. The defendant paid the full amount of my medical bills as restitution in exchange for pleading no contest to a lesser charge, and also has some community service to fulfill. I should be receiving a check for the full amount of my medical bills shortly. This is a great relief, and I wanted to thank you all for your advice. Luckily, I didn't have to go down the small claims route, but at the time I was worried that nothing was going to be done about the matter. Just wanted to update you guys and let you know that this matter was resolved. And fortunately guys, I gotta say that is a very happy ending to the story, even though we all know that legal advice not always ends as happy as this. And the next one is titled, "My abusive mother is threatening to sue me for visitation to my kids. I live in Chicago, Illinois. How can I fight this?" Please do not get judgmental and say things like, "Let your mom see her grandkids." Because if that's all you have to say, then don't waste your time. I was physically and psychologically abused my whole life by her until I was able to get away and out from under her thumb. I had a long struggle, but I got married to a beautiful woman who helped me get over my past and grow up. I cut my mother out of my life because contact with her was unhealthy and I didn't want to dwell on all that anger all the time. I got a notice from her a little while ago that she has learned we have kids and wants to see them. She says she has a right to see them and is planning to sue us to have contact. I have told my kids that my mother mistreated me as a child and because of that they were not going to be exposed to her. They have no ill effects from not seeing their grandmother. To them she's just a stranger who is not a part of their lives. I don't want my kids exposed to the kind of person she is. I refuse to allow her contact with my kids for the same reason I would not allow a criminal or a drug addict to visit my kids. I've told her this and promised that she would never ever see them, but I am not sure that I can fight it legally. My wife and I don't have the money for a lawyer and there's no proof of the abuse I claim. What kind of options do I have? And a user in the comments said, "First of all, she's very likely blowing smoke. In Illinois, she does not even have standing to sue, much less win, since your children are of an intact marriage. The only angle she has is to prove you are incompetent, which is a severe uphill battle. This does not mean she cannot sue. Her lawyer will try to push for arbitration or mediation. Since he knows there's zero chance of winning in court, they will sell the arbitration as a low or no cost alternative to resolve the dispute. Refuse this, you are under zero obligation to even speak with her. If served, you are going to need a lawyer. The stakes are simply too high. The cost should be minimal, since all you want the lawyer to do is to file for a dismissal based on lack of standing. Edit, I'm sorry this is happening to you. Going forward, it is advisable to stop all communication with her, as any communication you provide will be used against you. At this point, she needs a golden email where you deny visitation, simply refuse all contact, don't answer the phone, block social media, etc. If she gets harassing, report her to the police. And guys, if you were in this horrible situation OP is in, what would you suggest OP to do? Let us know in the comments if you have any good ideas. Update to the mother threatening to sue for visitation story. A few days ago I posted this and got tons of responses with great advice. I admit I was worked up emotionally and got into a little online argument with another Redditor who was joking around. I would like to let everyone know what has happened and it is looking good. The next day I started to look around for a lawyer. I then remembered that last February I sat on a jury for a criminal trial, and after the trial the judge and lawyers for both sides came back to the jury room to thank us. I remembered the defense attorney because he had a really unique name. I figured it would not hurt to ask, so I looked him up online and called his office. I spoke to his assistant and I told her that I sat on a jury he worked and was looking for advice. I told her I did not have much money but would have been grateful for some kind of help or advice. 15 minutes later, he called me up. He did not remember me specifically, but he remembered the trial. We found the defendant not guilty, so I was hoping he would be a little more open to me. He was pretty cool about it, and when I explained, he was sympathetic and told me he would take care of it with no charge. I almost fainted. I gave him the contact information for my mom's lawyer and he said he would give her a call. About 45 minutes later he called me back and told me he talked with the other lawyer and let her know all communication was to be with him. He said they had no standing and if my mom really wanted to go to court he would have no problems getting it dismissed. We have not heard anything back, but he has assured me that there's nothing to worry about. I was humbled the way he took it on for nothing and his swift response. We've all heard about how lawyers are jerks, but the man I turned to for help really did restore some of my faith in humanity. He said it was more important to do right by people who needed help and was glad to be there for me. Amazon delivered my expensive product without honoring signature delivery and it got stolen. So this is the first time I have ever had to deal with something like this, and I am at a real loss and almost in tears right now. I have been saving up for months to be able to get my significant other a great gift to help her in her career, a brand new camera, and I ordered one a couple of days ago on Amazon. As I ordered, I made sure it had signature at delivery because I have had other less expensive items stolen from my doorstep before and learned better. Fast forward day of delivery and I receive a notification on my phone that delivery was made with the picture and everything, and flabbergasted by this I rush home because I was an hour away at a dinner with friends. When I get home, the item is not there. I proceed to contact Amazon, who tells me to wait 24 hours. After that, I contact them again, and after 3 hours and 15 transfers later, the gist is we will open an investigation into the matter, come back in 3 days. But during one of the conversations, one of the agents told me they checked the tracking number and nowhere in the tracking was there any specification for signature required at delivery. I feel like I am being duped or lied to, because I have the screenshot that says signature required at delivery before I ordered. I don't know where this is going to go or what legal alternatives I might have in this situation, but any help would be really appreciated. Guys, I'm curious, did that ever happen to you? Here where I live, packages usually don't get stolen, but around Christmas time it can happen. Please let us know in the comments how it is for you. Update: Amazon delivered my expensive product without honoring signature delivery and it got stolen. I went straight to the police station once I could and was able to file a police report and made sure to get a copy of everything. I proceeded to call Amazon this time rather than chat and make sure to explain everything to them in detail and also include the fact that I had filed a police report and was able to get them to refund my money. I just want to thank everyone who commented, especially those who advised me to file a police report and to call rather than chat with them. I feel it really made a big difference. Thank you so much for all the advice and I wish you all a happy new year. By the way guys, how frequently do you use Amazon? We order pretty much everything on there, especially because we have Amazon Prime, and whenever there is an issue with the delivery, it is very easy to resolve the issue. Anyway, let us know your experiences in the comments. My roommate is accusing me of grand larceny. I've been forced out of my home and my belongings are currently being thrown out of the window and onto the street. New York City, I'm sorry if the text is one big block, I am on mobile, I don't really know what to say. I am baffled. I've been living with a new roommate for about 3 months. 2 weeks ago, my roommate accused me of stealing $3,700 out of his bedroom and swears up and down that it was me because he has footage. He also filed a restraining order. According to the police report, this theft occurred between the hours of 4 AM to 5 AM of August 22nd, 2019. However, during this time I was about an hour away from home and have receipts to prove it. I went to a 24-hour CVS and a bank that places me somewhere else. Not only that, but I was at the airport at 6 AM going on vacation. This was not me. I did not get word of what was going on until 3 days into my vacation and was told I was wanted for grand larceny and fleeing the country. As soon as I came back to New York on the 28th, I called the detective and set up a meeting. When I did meet with him, I showed him the receipts and provided him with my license plate to prove that I was not in the neighborhood the day of. He very much nonchalantly brushed me off and let me know he will get around to my case because he has more important cases to take care of. However, this is literally ruining my life. I have not been home since coming back and I've been staying with a friend. My roommate is literally squatting in the apartment and ransacking my room. I got a call this morning that he broke into my room and is currently throwing all my possessions out of the second-story window. I am a student and cannot afford a lawyer right now. I am about to head to my apartment and I don't know what to expect. I don't know what to do. Any advice is appreciated. Guys, have you ever lived in a shared apartment with a roommate? If you ever had an awful roommate, please let us know in the comments because I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Anyway, the next one is obviously the update to the story from before. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you for the support and the advice given to me. I did not expect such a huge amount of outreach. When I posted yesterday, it was just a jumble of words that I put together without putting in much thought because, well, I just got a phone call telling me all my things were being thrown out of the window and I pretty much panicked. For some context, I've been living in the same apartment complex for about 4 years. I am very well acquainted with the neighbors, security, superintendent, and so on. So, while I was away on vacation when the accusation happened, my roommate went around the complex to anyone who would listen that I stole $3,700, I am wanted for arrest, and there is a restraining order refraining me from even coming onto the premises. This is how I was able to get the information through word of mouth. So, from all the advice that I was given, I decided to check on this RO and could not find it at all in the system. Turns out my roommate merely just filed a police report and none of the things I was hearing was true. So I got to my apartment complex and a lot of my things were in garbage bags and was thrown out of the window. My things were everywhere, so I called the police. I let them know the situation and they came into the apartment with me along with my landlord. My room was indeed broken into and trashed. Many of my valuables such as my laptop, some sentimental jewelry that was given to me, shoes etc. were all missing. I was devastated. I filed a police report with the officers and stated everything that was missing and took a lot of pictures and videos like many of you stated. During all this, my roommate was there and it also looked as if other people started living there too. Turns out, my roommate is using this situation to now squat on the property, not pay rent and also brought other people and friends to live there as well. Unfortunately, because of this, there was no arrests even though all my valuables were missing and half my things were scattered across the street. The police said that because there is so many people coming in and out of my apartment and no witnesses, they were not able to arrest anyone. I was advised that this was a matter of civil, I think, court and I would have to settle this there. They also advised me that I could stay here, but they believed that it was not in my best interest or my safety to stay since he seemed violent and will be squatting on the property anyway, which can take months to evict. So they escorted me into my room to collect whatever else I had left and I am now still staying with my friend. As for my lease, my landlord is understanding and feels sorry for everything that has happened. We are mutually agreeing to end the lease without any problems. I don't really have a place to call home now and I pretty much have to start over since I was only able to grab clothes. Even if I did end up grabbing all my things, I would not have anywhere to put it. In hindsight, I feel foolish for being tricked. I guess this is a do-over, but thanks to all of you, at least I know the next steps to take and have some understanding of what to do, and I find comfort in that. Again, thank you. Ontario, people are living in our just built townhome claiming they are renting but will leave for only $15,000. Police are not being helpful. What am I supposed to do here? Me and my wife bought a new townhome. It was finally completed last Friday. We did a walkthrough and were given keys of the finished unit on Monday and everything was fine. Today was our move-in day. We showed up before the movers, only to discover 2 women sitting on blankets in our living room. They got extremely defensive and claimed they paid to rent it and I called the police. I walked around the back and the patio door looks like it was shattered. The police came in and I provided them with all the paperwork showing we are the owners. However, he came back with a residential tenancy form that was apparently they both signed. Half of it seemed to be blank. The landlord's name is someone who I have no idea who they are. On top of that, the kicker is that apparently their monthly rent is only $250 a month. After about 2 hours of back and forth of this, the police officer gave us a report number and recommended we seek legal aid. However, he cannot remove them from the premises until he is able to talk to the landlord, who apparently no one can get a hold of. After he left, one of the women came up to my wife and basically told her they would leave for $15,000, no questions asked. I offered them $500 and she laughed at me. From when we were in there, the entire house already stinks of cigarettes and I am pulling my hair out because of this. I am trying desperately to get in touch with our lawyer. We talked briefly to building company and they told us as soon as they gave us the keys, it is not their problem. Update to the Ontario story. Today they were forcefully removed from the property by the police. Our lawyer was somehow able to get a judge to look at everything and approve having them removed. The police officer basically told us to not move in and have the entire house professionally cleaned as there is a bunch of needles and other things laying around. On top of all that, it seems they tried to seemingly destroy everything in our house. All the new appliances that came with our house are basically ruined. All toilets and bathtubs seemingly look like they have been smashed with a hammer. In some places it looks like someone tried to rip the effing wiring out of our walls, etc. Basically as a final FU to us. Our lawyer has basically told us the odds of us getting anything of value out of them is basically nil. I wanted them to go to jail for breaking and entering, but apparently it does not work like that. I hate humanity. That's honestly a horrible story, and by now I've actually already heard multiple times that it is indeed extremely difficult, depending on the country you live in, to get rid of these squatters. Did you ever have any experience with people like this? Let us know in the comments. Mother-in-law is suing for visitation. Today I was served with papers to go to family court so my mother-in-law can have visitation with my children. A bit of backstory, my mother-in-law is mentally unstable. She believes everyone is hacking her, me included. She is extremely paranoid and tries to brainwash my kids, telling them I am hacking her, that climate change is a hoax, crystals have healing power. Admittedly, the last two are no big deal, the first one is a huge deal. The wife and her mother had a falling out over the accusing me of being hacked into her phone. My mother-in-law expressed interest in seeing the kids. We told her if she wanted to see our children, she had to do so under our supervision. She then began gaslighting my wife by telling her me and my wife both have borderline personality disorder and told this to the entire family. Does my mother-in-law have any right to take my children out of my supervision? Does she have a case? Should I get a lawyer? If I should get a lawyer, how can I get one if I am broke? Any and all advice would be extremely helpful. Oh boy, the crazy mother-in-laws are coming back. But let's hope the community of our favorite subreddit is not coming back as well. Update: mother-in-law suing for visitation. We went to court for our initial hearing in February. I asked for dismissal citing Troxel v. Granville. The judge agreed that we were within our rights, however, she could not grant a dismissal because my mother-in-law requested an attorney. The judge advised she did not qualify for an appointed lawyer, so she should seek representation through elder law. My mother-in-law begins raising her hands and waving them around, asking if she could be allowed to speak. She states in court that me and my wife bully, abuse, belittle and swear around the children constantly. The first three are outright lies and the fourth, so effing what? She also stated that she never mentioned once being hacked or being obsessed that she was hacked and that my oldest daughter was the one obsessed with hacking and spying. The judge made no comments and advised her that we were not keeping her away from the children and that she should seek relief by visiting them under our supervision. Fast forward to a week before the hearing, we have to meet with the law guardian for the children. We showed the law guardian all the insane conspiracy theory texts and the text where she accuses me of hacking her phone. She spoke with the children and we took our leave. The paperwork we received stated that my mother-in-law showed her a much different conversation. My mother-in-law had deleted the texts that made her look bad and copy-pasted several from my wife that made my wife look like a bully and that she was harassing my mother-in-law. The children outright denied any bullying/abuse and stated to the law guardian that my mother-in-law makes them uncomfortable because she is constantly yelling at them when they want to leave, she won't let them go and she won't stop talking about who is hacking her. So obviously she supports our position. In the hearing, my lawyer asked for dismissal and requested we be paid our legal fees by mother-in-law as the petition was brought in bad faith. My mother-in-law's appointed attorney could not withdraw and refile an amended petition because mother-in-law would not let her, so the judge dismissed and awarded us our legal fees. I have not seen the judgment yet, but it is my understanding that it was dismissed with prejudice. However, my mother-in-law does not live in reality and is going to file another petition alleging that I have brainwashed my children. I wish that were true, they never listened to me. So I may have another update for you all shortly, but for now I will enjoy my victory. The next story was posted by Donna on our subreddit and does not really fit the legal advice category, however it is just a cute little story to bring some variety. Anyway, it is titled "When One of My Cats Literally Saved My Life." Hey Ripe, here's a story of my eldest cat, Needy, who is 15 years old, when she saved my life back in about 2012-ish. Does not fit normal categories. First, here's my beautiful lifesaver, called Needy. Onto the tale. And here you can see Needy, and obviously she's cute as a button. I suffer from a multitude of very serious illnesses, and sometimes you catch a common respiratory virus and gotta see the doctor. Especially when you're asthmatic like me. I had come down with some little bug, and the doctor prescribed me prednisone to nip it in the bud before it could send me to the hospital. I have a lifelong track record of common colds turning into intensive care unit visits. I have so many near-death stories. We'll tell those later if you want to know what being in a coma and life support is like. But that is not this story. Nope, it was not my asthma we should have been worried about, but my diabetes. Because, well, prednisone is a mild steroid and you have to be careful when you are diabetic with those things. My dog was aware of this but said it would be okay. Nope. Big nope. That night I took the first pill and went to bed. I was awoken by Needy digging her claws gently but firmly into my chest. Not breaking skin, but letting me know little sharp needles were getting my attention, while she incessantly licked my lips and nose aggressively. Like that sandpaper tongue was gonna sand my lips and nose clear of my face. Once she got me conscious, I realized there was something dreadfully wrong with me. It's hard to describe, but my insides felt fluttery, like I was shivering from the inside out. I felt so cold, like it was absolute zero and coats had not been invented. It was the most indescribable experience, and here I am trying to explain it and failing. I felt like I was also gonna faint again any second, so I called out to my hubby, "Call 911." Needy was plastered to me, not about to let me fall back asleep. By this point, I could not even form coherent sentences. The emergency responders got to me quick. I only lived 2 miles from 3 hospitals. They were trying to ask me questions and apparently they thought I was a Russian immigrant from the broken speech that I was attempting to communicate. I barely remember, I thought I was speaking clearly, but my syntax was channeling Yoda via the Kremlin. I was all over the place, they got me to the ER, and apparently that one tiny pill sent me into serious diabetic ketoacidosis. It is no joke, blood sugar should be around 100, American measurements. The ambulance folks tested me at 523, 5 minutes later at the ER it tested at 718. It was rising that quickly, 800 is diabetic coma, then death soon after because your organs just shut down. I was that close to meeting Mr. Grim Reaper. Again, my adverse reaction to prednisone was basically turning my blood into antifreeze just from one tiny pill. My breath smelled like sweet almonds, and that's what Needy, my cat, noticed and figured out in her feline brain that I was not supposed to smell like that, so she made damn sure she woke me up and kept me conscious. If she had not by the morning, I would have been little more than a corpse. Can you say my husband and I spoil her rotten and cater to her every whim since? She very literally saved my life. There are no words to describe how grateful I am to a 9-pound adorable ball of prima donna calico. Without my little familiar by my side that night, I would not be telling this story today. Let's appreciate our pets, they are beyond special, and because one day they may rescue you. Needy is about to get some temptation treats as soon as I post this. She is one special kitty. And guys, unfortunately, we have already reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and if you haven't already, please also go to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where I upload exclusive Reddit videos starting at just $3 a month. This is a great way to support me in case you are interested, and the chance for me to become independent from YouTube revenue. Thank you so much for watching, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.